Go ahead and preview the game for us this weekend.
I really like hold on, let me do that for you. I really like what Coach Malzahn's done here, and with full disclosure, I looked at the schedule preseason and I thought, man, that could be 6-6.
Yeah.
It was one of those very difficult schedules. You're open with Oregon, week 3 you got a real hard one down at Texas A&M. This isn't going to be any cakewalk. Mississippi State's a bunch of tough dudes, and they play really physically, and they're going to play really physically. They run the football. I don't know if they're going to be able to run the football against Derek Brown and them boys, because that's one of the best defensive fronts in the country, and Coach Steele's going to be dialing it up to go get after some quarterbacks that are a little bit banged up. Tommy Stevens, we still don't really know about his health, really. And, of course, Schrader is a freshman. Not really playing like one, but he's a freshman. So I expect a really good physical game, and I'd give a slight nod to the Tigers.
So you spoke on the defensive line. What have you seen from them so far this season that makes you so excited to watch this matchup?
So aggressive and so physical, and it all starts with Brown. He's such a physical presence. He decided to come back to school. He could have gone off to the NFL and gone ahead and started that journey. But he wanted to come back. He wanted to play with little brother and really establish his legacy here and build something really special. And I marvel at him. If he's not the best defensive lineman in the country, he's right there in that conversation.
So you talk about the best defensive lineman in the country. You got guys like Chase Young up at Ohio State. How do you see Derek Brown matching up against a guy like that?
Young's a physical freak and can do a whole lot of things with his speed and his size and all of that. Where I see Derek being different is just sheer brute strength. I mean, you saw what he did to A&M's line. People don't do that to Texas A&M's line. And that's what's so exciting to me. He's NFL ready right now. Plug him in somewhere, man.
So shifting to the offense, what have you seen from this freshman quarterback that everybody's been talking about? We just talked to Tebow about him. What have you seen from him that you like?
Tim spent a lot of time today with Bo, and we got the great opportunity to do it too. He came up and saw us here on the SEC Nation bus. The thing that stands out to me above all else is poise and maturity so far beyond his years. The questions that he asks, the things that intrigue him, the obvious preparation and the pedigree. And it's funny, we were giving him some grief for his answers to things we were asking him about. Coach's kid. He's such a coach's kid. And so is Joe Burrow down at LSU. They both have that coach's kid mentality. And what I appreciate about Bo right now is he is playing within the system that he's been given so well. Let's be really good short. Let's let these guys with all this crazy speed that are all over the field do what they do when they have the ball in space. And he's doing that so well. And another thing that I find really interesting is Joey Gatewood, right? This is a freak show athlete. This is a really good athlete. And the way that Coach Malzahn and the staff are using him, he's fully invested in that. And as long as he's fully invested in that role, it's going to be beneficial for everybody.
How do you think Malzahn handled that two-quarterback situation? Because sometimes we've seen it this year with the transfer portal. Guys can be happy they're not going to play and they're going to want to leave.
I don't envy coaches from that perspective right now with the portal, especially, you look at a guy like Gatewood who's so obviously physically gifted, throwing it and running it, and they're making it work right now. How will that transpire in the future? Who knows? But right now they're doing a brilliant job in a very difficult dynamic.
How do you think that two-quarterback system is going to go throughout the season?
Fine, as long as Joey Gatewood's invested in the role. Fine.
So looking at the offense, do you think the running game is really what's been driving Auburn, or do you think that's sort of a headline that's been pushed out there? And Bo Nix, he's been playing well, but his stat line hasn't really shown as much.
No, he's most adept with these really short passes. He's not very adept right now going vertical. He'll grow into that because he's so cerebral. Listening to him talk at his age, I'm fascinated. Now, granted, again, old man's a coach. Right. Old man's a quarterback at a very high level. So he has that at his disposal since he was a tyke. Right. But I like Auburn's offense. I do believe that the running game is overshadowed because you have this true freshman with all this pedigree behind center. And he beat Oregon after an erratic first half. He settled down a little bit and played really well. Comes out again. Last week I was so impressed with him. That is a hard place to play, man. 12th man's a real thing. Go in there, manage it, play well, execute what you're asked to execute, and win. And if you're winning,
right. So Auburn is known for having certain guys throughout. Like, you look at the good Auburn teams, obviously you had Cam and Zachary, and then you had Nick Marshall, Sammy Coates, Trey Mason. Do you think Bo Nix, Boobie Whitlow, Seth Williams can be one of those guys, and even Anthony Schwartz too?
I think they can, but I think that the running backs have to kind of take another step. You're exactly right. Every great Auburn team had that 2 and or 3-headed monster. And they have the talent right now, there's no question. But I think that the backfield could take another step, and if that happens,
yeah,
settle down around here on the plains, son.
What do you think is the ceiling for Auburn this year?
10 wins, maybe 11.
Who do you see them losing to?
I don't think they're going to beat Alabama. And I think I will tell you about LSU. Here's the thing that I find so intriguing about that is they're throwing it around all over the place. And I marvel at what they're doing with Joe Brady and Joe Burrow and that offense. But what happens when you have this uber physical defensive front who's going after those LSU kids and getting after Burrow? They haven't seen that yet. Texas is a good team. They beat Texas. Texas is a good team. But we'll have to see how that all transpires as we go.